sell now. So we're missing the man of the hour.
Yeah, Doug is still in Los Angeles.
Yeah, dude.
He went to the World Series game yesterday. He said he had a great time.
That's just the life, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he went to the Capital One Suite. So our advertising, our marketing company that we work with, hooked him up. Damon and him sent a text and said, "Hey, we'd love to go to the World Series if at all possible." And they go, "Yeah, let's see what we can do." Got him the sweet tickets, Capital One Suite. How cool!
That is so cool. He always lands
awesome.
the best seats, the most fun. I tell you, we've been to the Yankees game back in the day, and what a great time. I mean, it's crazy that the Diamondbacks didn't make it this year, right?
Mm-hmm. But if they didn't make it, Doug loves to see the Yankees in there.
Yankees
Ooh, the
is the second best
pinstripes.
team, yeah, for sure.
And Damon, obviously has built a company in Los Angeles for the last 15 years. So he is now a Doyers fan. Right?
No way. So you've got split rivalry right there?
Yeah. So they're sharing the box, and Doug's going, "You better wear a Yankees uniform." and Damon's going, "I think we've made a lot more money in Los Angeles the last couple of years than New York."
I'm
Doug.
sporting
My
Dodger
allegiance is
blue,
here."
not pinstripes.
Yeah, so they've been ribbing each other back and forth. It's a good time.
Amazing, dude. So, wow, what a week. We're only like a few days away. We've got 10 days away from the election thing.
Yeah.
Kind of cool that we're going to wrap up these commercials and we can start hearing stuff like
Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SELL NOW.
1-800-SELL NOW. I haven't got to hear it that much because they're bumping
they're
our
not
spots.
playing it. They're not playing it.
Political's taking it. We'll play one more.
Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SELL NOW.
They will.
All right.
We've been pretty lucky with TV. Again, our marketing company. Thank you so much, Jackson, LJW. But they've been able to help us not get bumped a whole bunch this political season, which is pretty cool. I don't know if we're getting
The
bumped as
radio
much on
ads
the radio.
it's awful because they can afford so many more of them and they just inundate it.
Got it. I know that TV we've been doing pretty well, which honestly I was surprised about. Every company, when we met with a bunch of different companies, everybody's going, "We're the best," right? They're trying to earn our business. And they had a really unique way to attack this political season, which is something that we were concerned with, right? We obviously want to be able to
you can't
get
just
in front
lose
of
your
more
commercials just because political season comes on.
Correct. And so super, super happy with LJW, especially Jackson. I mean, just over the moon, pleased with how well they've done. So thank you so much. And that jingle is because of them too.
That's awesome.
So if you like the jingle.
Dude, Jackson, if I ever see you live in person,
Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SELL NOW.
I'm just messing with you. I love it.
You love it. How'd you guys do the show without me last week? What happened?
Oh, dude, we coasted. It was easy.
You coasted?
No big deal.
So
what the heck is the deal? You've been gone for two shows.
Well, I was in Michigan,
Yeah.
and my son is in a band called King Falcon, and he happened to be playing right by my sister. She lives up there in Grand Rapids, and we went there with my parents, so his grandparents got to see him perform the first time, and my son, he's a rhythm guitar there. Check him out on Spotify, King Falcon.
You're wearing the shirt too.
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm
Look
representing.
at you, representing.
So, yeah, just a lot of fun. It's one of his dreams, and now he's able to go out there and do it. I mean, it's tough. He's on the road. He's living in a van down by the river. No, not down by the river. But the van broke down, and they had all sorts of trouble. But they ended up doing another show in Ohio, and then just Nashville a couple days ago.
So you get the call, Dad, we're broke down on the side of the road.
Yeah, he sent me the video.
We need $1,000. We got to get to the next gig.
Yeah, no. Fortunately, he is being paid. So they're
Have a couple
on
of
a
bucks.
shoestring budget, but it's working. Yeah, for sure.
So, dude, I got to ask you, as long as we're got you up on the chopping block, so to speak, because that's what's coming up here right now. Mortgage rates unlikely to fall much further. They're talking. It's jumped up the highest it's been in since the last almost 4 months.
3 months. Yeah, it's at an all-time high. They're apparently ignoring my emails.
Really?
I am.
Your
emailing
harshly
them.
worded emails are not worded harshly enough.
They're not doing. I mean, the market's the market, and with all the data coming out, it's unfortunately there's still inflation. There's still a lot of spending going on, and that's what causes. They can only artificially keep them down so long before the market will bear. So
what do you think we're going to see? They were talking about the possibility of maybe even one more rate cut before the end of the year. Do you see that happening still?
At this point, I think everyone's just waiting for the election. Because once that happens, you got to understand there's going to be movement of trillions of dollars in different areas, depending on who's elected. And so I think at this point, everybody's just kind of, let's wait and see, because that will.
Let's dive
definitely-
into that and help
yeah.
people understand, right?
Yes.
So if a more liberal government is elected, they're going to be funneling money into green energy, right? They're going to be
yes.
funneling money into more government programs, more government contracts,
more government spending. Yes.
right? And whereas if more conservative is elected, where is the money going?
Generally, it's going to less government. More pro-business type situation.
Oil.
Don't they usually just like
That's the
lower
big thing.
taxes?
Oil. It's the energy fact. That before Donald Trump, we were drilling. We were basically self-sufficient with our energy, and that all ended. And so that would be, to bring that back would definitely lower costs.
You think that'd do more for inflation than anything else right now? If we could get
I think
the
it
cost
would
of energy
initially. I mean, there's a lot of other factors, but I think that's probably the most important thing is not being energy dependent. And some of these programs that they're spending billions and we're sending money to foreign countries, that would change. So
I heard an economist say that the inflation is based on when the government spends, not like when we spend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and now more than ever, I mean, think about all the money that was printed, especially during COVID, and the amount of money that's out there just makes it less valuable, right? The more that's out there, the less valuable it is, and that's what's happening right now. And to rein it in or bring it back and to see rates go down to 3 would, I don't know
It
if
won't
we'll be
happen.
able to see that. Yeah. So, but I mean, you got to see the difference, the polar opposites of what they want to spend on. Trump and Kamala, it's like polar opposites. So depending on what happens with this election, I
it's
think that's
amazing.
kind of what they're waiting to see.
They're saying that nearly 1 in 5 people have gotten in a disagreement with a neighbor over politics, according to this Redfin survey I found.
Or, we're getting disagreements with family members, right? I mean, it gets some heated text out there, and it's so frustrating because everybody's just kind of put their heels in the sand, right? Like they're not moving. Like this is it. This is what we believe. You can't convince them otherwise on either side. And it's so much. I hate using that word, misinformation, but there's so much out there that
On both sides, too. And it's really kind of brutal. And,
but-
nobody really feels that it's important to actually be stuck down to the rules of telling
or
truth.
accountability or fact checking, and then even the fact checkers sometimes
Aren't really
fudge it.
given,
And this idea that we need censorship, in the social media is scary. It really is, to think that some of the views of the left have turned into things that they used to be against. I mean, I don't want to.
Well,
get on either
both
side,
parties have changed so much, though.
Do we have the
just
tinfoil hat
interesting.
in there still for Kevin?
Right?
Let's get it on.
I
there.
just think it'll be interesting coming up here at Thanksgiving to see how that all goes down, because there's going to be the topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Either that or it's going to be everybody dodging it.
Well, at least you'll know who won, and then it's it is what it is, and you have to just make do. Now, in either case, like I said, everybody doomsday. If everybody thinks
Everybody
that's gonna
thinks
happen.
if the other
But,
person
you
wins.
get up, you go to work, you do your thing. We've been through both, very liberal and very conservative governments, and we've always been able to survive. So I think everybody just needs to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, and let people be cool with being them. You don't have to think the same way that I think. I mean, my God, you know how many things Dylan and I disagree on?
A few. No,
So-
but it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to get past it. I'm sick
Yeah.
of these conversations. I want to focus more on, growth than, these people that have argue for one side or the other, and those individuals could care less about their life.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
and
true.
That's what I laugh at. It's like, yeah, it's all lip service, whether it's right or left. Both people want to act like they're going to help me, and they don't.
And no matter if you're Republican or Democrat,
Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SALE-NOW.
we love everybody here. So
Well, the bottom line is you're going to buy houses no matter who's elected.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the market's going to continue, and
you're going to have
people
to
are
live
gonna,
somewhere.
Continue with their lives, and it'll be different, and money will be allocated at different areas. That's really what's going to happen. So
The sun will come up the next day. Everybody will survive. There will be milk. Cows will still be alive, and everything should be okay.
yeah,
How
let's
weird.
hope.
So mortgage rates rising to the 2-month high. That's something that we're going to see for the rest of the year. Then that's how we got here.
Yeah, I think big, whoever wins the election, I think then we'll have a better idea on what's going to happen.
Do you think we could see it if one or the other does end up coming into office still? see a rate cut at all?
It's possible. I don't want to say it's not, but it's just not looking like that's the direction it's going right now.
Sell now.
He'll answer still. He'll answer still.
He's always on that phone. So we were talking about mortgage rates and why they've gone up. And basically, everyone's aware that the Fed lowered the interest rate a little bit. And that seemed to be the thing that everyone thought would lower the interest rate for mortgage rates. But we saw it drop, and now we're seeing it tick back up.
Well, everybody has to understand when they lower the rate, that's the discount rate
that banks lend money to each other from.
Right. So that lowers the cost of what money's worth. Now they do that. They raised it to unprecedented levels because we were having inflation through the roof, right? And that's one way to stop it is to slow down the borrowing of money because rates are higher, right? So by lowering the cost of the money to try saying, okay, inflation's in check, we got to get the economy going again. They lowered it a half, and again, people were talking maybe they won't lower it, maybe it's a quarter, but they went full bore and lowered it a half, right? So what did that do? That spurred on some spending, right, at the very beginning, and which created inflation. I mean,
so every time we let off the brake on this whole thing and give it a little bit of room to grow, it just shoots inflation back up.
It's a really hard balance to have. You've got to be able to figure out the fiscal policy of what you're going to spend and how to control inflation. You look at countries like Venezuela and some of these other countries where inflation got so out of control, it was
like a gazillion dollars to buy a loaf of bread.
People couldn't afford food. You look back in the 80s when rates were literally at 15, 16, 17%. That's insane because inflation had gone in crazy, and that was one thing to just almost stop the economy.
Yeah.
And then you can reset. Now, I don't think we'll see extremes like that, hopefully, in my lifetime. But yeah, it's one of those balancing acts, and it's funny because everyone's like, rates high. I've been doing this for 30 years. When 7% came out right around 93, no one had a rate lower than 9.5. And everybody was celebrating. We can't believe rates are so low. Everybody kind of at that time thought 10% was like that should be the norm, or that was the norm. Yeah. So because rates have gone so low, and people got used to that, and with the cost of housing and the amount of monthly mortgage payments, that has really created this idea that, oh my gosh, we're almost at 7 again, and this is horrible. And how are we going to sustain this? How can people afford homes? And so what does that cause? And what is it causing? We see it in the market right now that, we have more houses, more supply.
Yeah.
We have
21,700.
21,700. Prices have come down in a lot of areas. You're seeing concessions, people paying $20,000, $30,000 to help people get into homes
on average
buy-downs
right now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to look at the opposite side. If they were at 3 right now today, prices of homes would probably be up 15 to 20%. There wouldn't be that many, and we'd be in that bidding war like we saw in COVID. So every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So at this point, it's high because they can't get a handle on inflation, and until they do, we're going to see it higher. But at that same time, you can take advantage of it because it's definitely shifted to a buyer's market, I would say. Would you see that, Dylan, in most cases?
Yeah. Obviously, it depends on each individual area as you get, in the outskirts, for sure. But I hate. There's so many statistics that it's hard to give like a really good, like simple answer.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'll give you an example. The luxury stuff everybody says is incredible and going really good and like bulletproof. Right. Do you know the listing success rate for those homes?
No, what is that?
It's like 40%.
Oh, that's it.
So it's going really good for the 40% of homes that sell.
Yeah, but that's not good.
No.
That means 60% of the houses that are listing aren't selling at all.
Correct. So but these people are so financially well off that instead of taking a loss and they're just like, oh, I won't sell it then, right? So it doesn't show the whole story.
Yeah.
It doesn't help people really understand, like right now, I think Tempe is seeing the most appreciation right now because it's such a core area and it's easier to commute. Whereas you go to Buckeye or Maricopa or Santan Valley or Florence, right? You're not seeing that. You're not seeing the same kind of appreciation and demand, right? Mm-hmm. You're competing with a whole bunch of new builds that are offering interest rates, in the 5s for 30 years, and then they'll do It's a buy down so they can get a 3 for the first year, right?
Yes.
I just sold a home that I bought from Doug and I flipped, and man, we were projecting to sell it for like 380. Ended up going 360, and I had to pay them 3% in concessions.
Oof.
And I had to pay the commission to their agent. It was on the market like 40 days. And that was the only offer I got. I had to do, I had to just get out of it. And yeah, we still made money. I think it was like $12,000. But we thought we were going to get, a 10% return on our money. We thought we were going to get 30 grand, right? So man, it is not the market that it was even just earlier this year.
No,
right?
it wasn't. It's changed quite a bit. So here's the pros and cons. The pros are you can get a home for, cheaper than you could probably 6 months ago. And you're going to get concessions of maybe 15, 20 grand, help you pay down that rate. And again, I love that you're saying is, your date the rate, marry the house, right? So you can always lower that rate. I do believe down the road they will get lower. But no one has a crystal ball. No one knows when, but at least you get into the home you like. You might be pushing your budget a little bit, but knowing that down the road you should be able to
and
refinance.
the wealth that you're going to be able to accrue too, it's just unbelievable. It is just a game changer. People who rent for their lifetime and people who own, you're talking about $500,000 on the low end in wealth at the end of the lifetime, and it's just huge.
Well, that and the tax write-offs, and there's just a lot of advantages to owning your home and having that be yourself. It's something that America prides itself on. I mean, a lot of countries don't operate like that, or ownership is much different. Here, you're able to. Now, one of the things that we have to try to help people is we are doing a 90% cash out with no MI. Let me repeat that. Usually you have to pay mortgage insurance if it's below, if it's above 80%. So we're going to do a 90% cash out. So let's say you have some equity in your home. You got, car payments, you got high, those credit cards are 25, 29%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you're able to do a cash out. The rate's going to be, higher, obviously, but you're able to tap into some of that equity. And then when the rates do go down, you can refinance out of that.
We're seeing a lot of people do that too, instead of having to move.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're going like, oh my gosh, moving costs are so much and this and that and the other. And the properties that are on the market, there are some good properties that are being renovated and put on, but the vast majority of them need work.
Yeah.
The vast majority of them need
people just
some
don't have
remodels.
money right now to throw into that.
No.
Not with the economy the way it is.
Correct. And so maybe instead of moving, right, you tap into Kevin's program and you go, hey, I'm going to pull out, 10, 20, 30 grand. I'll redo the bathroom. I'll redo the kitchen.
Yeah. Make the house the way I want it.
Correct. And not sell, during this time. Yeah, and maybe I'll do the renovations and then I'll sell in springtime with Dylan then. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of ways
until
to
summer
use it.
once it comes time and everybody moves again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So there's a lot of ways, to skin that cat. The key here is that you want to have professionals on your side. So if you guys are wanting to understand the options with lending, please give Kevin a call at 480-560-5555, and he'll walk you through each and every step of, hey, if I was in your position and I had, these options laid out before me, this is what I would recommend. And he'll treat you just like one of your kids because he's been around since the dinosaurs. So
Dylan could be one of my kids. That's what's crazy.
Yes, that is true. We'll never know.
So you had talked about new builds, and I saw a couple of articles. I wanted to ask you some questions. It says builder confidence rises again. It says that the new single-family home market moved higher for the second month in a row in October as easing inflation expectations for mortgage rates boosted optimism, according to the National Association of Builders. It says new home sales post a surprise gain in September.
Oh yeah,
are you guys
absolutely.
seeing a lot of people opting towards the new build instead of going the route of
Yeah, I mean, Dylan alluded to it. For the longest time, builders would offer incentives, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest incentive right now is to lower your rate. So they're spending a fortune on getting that lower payment to make sure people can qualify and get in there. Now, keep in mind, they're spending a fortune to do that, but that's probably helping the appraised value of their properties. And so it's a win-win for everybody. Mm-hmm. So basically, yeah.
What are you seeing in the way of a rate on a new build?
Well, you just said.
So again, every builder has their own program. And every builder has their own incentives, and it all depends on your credit, it depends on your income, etc.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
a lot of variables. This is not standard. I need to make sure that's understood. But I'm seeing a ton of builders offer like 5%. And, yeah, for a 30-year, and they'll even 4 years and 4% and 3% for the first two. Pretty crazy.
Oh, wow. So the 2-1 buy down too. All right, well, we'll come back with more Sell Now. We have somebody waiting for your call. Special guest in the studio. In fact, we'd like to introduce Troy Lyons to the program here.
Yes.
This would be part of the family. Dylan, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, Troy is my uncle. He works with Damon, who's been on the show a few times, and he runs the construction department with Seller's Advantage. So he's managing, once the contracts get signed, he's taking a look at the properties, underwriting the deal, and seeing how much it would cost, and really helping with which exit strategy they want to move forward with. And obviously, you know, California and Arizona are way different markets.
Vastly different.
You know, but he also does a lot of construction here in Arizona as well.
Oh,
You-
okay.
Tell us about the renovation you're doing on your own home.
We got a little project going on right now. So I live in South Gilbert. Bought an acre property a few years ago, and we are building. I just finished out a garage mahal, which is kind of big and nice. Little
I like
dream of
that
mine.
garage mahal.
Garage
I like that term.
What's the square footage? Remind us.
68 by 40, 22-foot walls. It's big. It
Nice.
qualifies as a garage
huge,
mahal.
dude.
Wait, how come your garage is getting done before Doug's house is getting done?
Well,
I don't.
that's because, you know, Troy's the construction manager. He knows what he's doing here. He should have hired Troy to do it, and it would
He
have been
should
done by
have.
now.
I mean, yeah, 5 years on Doug's house. So good
Hey,
tidbit of
have we heard
information.
anything new on that? Is he still going to get it like this year?
Yeah, the plan is like within the next 5 years, he will for sure be in there. For sure be in there.
I want to see if we
predict-
had any updates for the listeners.
I predict that by February 1st he'll be in. That's my
If
prediction.
we are not there for the Super Bowl, I will riot. I will riot.
I want the invitation for the
it'll
party.
be.
Yep.
It'll be. So tidbit here, you know, Troy and I worked together back in 1993.
Really?
Yep, when I worked for his dad, we were doing loans back then, and I was just telling him how when rates were 7%, everybody was so excited, and now they're yelling at me it's 7% again, and people are not excited. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
dude, come on. Some of us got rates under 3. Do you? In fact, do you ever think we'll see that again?
It would. It's possible, but not likely in the near future. I would say.
Think that I'll ever see it in my lifetime?
I don't know how long you're gonna live.
That's true.
Let's get out
Take
your
care of
crystal
myself.
ball, dude. Start rubbing that
So in the
lamp.
next 5 years, I don't think so. Obviously, just teasing, no.
Nostradamus isn't here to tell us the future, so
yeah.
you're the next best
yeah,
thing.
I would say it's definitely possible. Unfortunately, if something like that does happen, that means we're probably in a really bad recession if it gets to that low, you know. But it is possible. And again, whoever wins this election, I think it's going to determine a lot of the different factors on what's going to happen with rates.
So you want Kamala to be there? So
Wow,
that,
I
so
never
that-
said that.
So that
I
our
never
economy
said
can
that.
get crunched
We're
and have really low
oh,
rates.
wow.
Kevin,
Oh, geez.
that's why interest rates
You
are
know,
7 right
whether
now.
it's Republican or Democrat, we always survive somehow.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
fine. Sorry,
that's right.
I shouldn't
So,
tease
sorry,
about that.
Troy, you can see our show, we kind of squirrel off into our own little areas every so often. So
But
you were
Troy,
talking
let's
about
let's
garage
just
mahal.
reminisce real quick. When we started, you know, back then everybody had to come into the office. They had to bring their W-2s. They had to bring everything, and it was chaos. Your dad created one of the biggest mortgage companies in the country to do refis. He actually, in October of '93, did more refis than any other mortgage company in the country. Do you remember that? When
Yeah,
was on
he
with
did
it?
a ton. So when Kevin and I first met, I was in high school. I was a courier back in the day, like literally bringing loan docs from one title company to the other, doing everything else. That's how Kevin and I met, and all these years later, here we are. So
Yeah,
it's
done
been
a
a
few
ride.
loans for you,
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, so, but yeah, so back to the what do you call it? The garage mahal.
No. Let's first talk about the kingpin a little bit more. So, Gene is how we're all here.
Grandpa
Yes.
G.
I love to talk about that. When people ask me about real estate or, hey, how'd you get involved or how'd you get here, right? It's always like the dinner conversation of like, what are you doing? Like, how did you get doing this? How'd you get hooked up with Doug? And I like to say that I stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And Gene is for sure that giant that helped pave the way in our family. And now we have a ton of us that all work in real estate with Doug. We get to work with Kevin, even though I give him a real hard time. I love him. And Troy is another one of those huge pillars that helped me. When Doug was in 2018, early 2018, Doug was in the office freaking out that we are not getting enough traditional real estate. And he goes, man, I just need somebody. I need somebody that's hungry and awesome and ready to go. And Troy goes, you know, Dylan's back, right?
Back from your mission.
You know, Dylan's here and he could help. I think he'd be a good fit. And immediately just Doug goes, call him right now. Call him right now. Get him over
Exactly
here.
how he is.
And that happened. That's exactly what happened. So I literally called up Dylan. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I can maybe swing over for lunch break, whatever. In that very moment, Doug's like, have him here at noon. I need to talk to him. An hour and a half later, Dylan walks by the office and he's like, I guess I'll be here on Monday. And that's how it happened.
That's so funny because when I got out of college, I interviewed with your dad. He was so busy. He was sitting on the floor. There were files stacked everywhere. And we talked for about an hour and a half. And, your dad's, his mind works so fast. And I walked out of there and I asked the secretary, I go, did he hire me? She goes, oh yeah, honey, you're hired. So I started working there. Now, back in the day, Doug and I were best friends, and he was doing cable, and I told him how much I made one month, and he's like, wait a second, I need to come over there. Yeah. So he got hired on, and the day he got hired, rates went to 9.5% at 95,
Yes.
and he did one deal in 4 months, but he met a real estate group that he became assistant with. And that's how he did. He started doing that side
Did
while
the
I
open
did the
houses
mortgage
on the
side,
side and all that
and then
stuff,
we did
yeah.
all the flips back in the day on the HUD homes, and then from there, we just the people that we met and all the connections all can be traced back to Gene Lines. So
How cool.
Yeah, it's really
How cool.
really amazing.
And he still has amazing dance skills.
Oh yeah,
Believe it or not.
Well, we would go to those conventions, and I was top producer for him, so I'd get to go with him, and boy, everybody knew him, and he was just he'd enter a room and he just took over the room every time.
awesome.
Yeah, he was.
That's my dad.
Yes.
He still
that's
does. He still
Totally.
does, right?
Every one of the weddings that we have in the family, Papa Gene still gets after it. And there's like a moment of the wedding where they turn the dance floor to him and he gets after it. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
the movie-
It's like
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever. He takes out,
no,
like everybody
seriously.
splits the scene.
oh, he cuts the rug. Absolutely,
Wow.
positively, like
Every
80
single
plus
phone
years
is
old.
out.
Yeah, more energy than you've ever seen. I was just at one of your family weddings not too long ago. Yeah, he was out there middle of the floor going crazy. Scout, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many grandkids and great grand? Do you know the number?
Are there 54?
I think they're 54. I'm the oldest of 54
Grandkids.
Grandkids.
Wow.
And how many
54.
great grands are there now?
I don't even know the
I
number.
think 16.
It changes every day, right?
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
16 right now.
You would know better than me. Yeah, no, that's
I
a
have
level
3 of
below
them,
me.
so I should at least know that. but it's
that's-
a huge family.
You really
Really
feel-
incredible what your parents have done and
Thanks.
your grandparents. Yeah, that's awesome. And I got my first grandkid, so hopefully I can take on the legend. I don't think I'll have that many though.
Since we're talking about family, you can tell us honestly, Troy, is Dylan your favorite nephew?
I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to shoot it
Put
really
him under
straight.
the bus.
So Dylan, being that he is the oldest of the nephews, Dylan lived. His parents were in between moving to another city. They were in Casa Grande at the time, whatever. But he lived with us for a good portion of time in our home, and because he lived under the same roof, he was raised by my dad the same way that Damon and I and others were raised. Dylan, of all of the nephews, is wired the most like us.
Yeah.
Because the guy that wired me, Gene, is the guy that wired Dylan. And so it is super awesome. But yeah, we grew up couple acres, livestock, chores, all of the other stuff that goes along with it. And Dylan very much felt all of that we have. So of all the nephews, I don't have favorites, like everybody's always going to say. But Dylan and I do have
You
that bond.
totally ruined it, Troy. I just like to thank you for taking that opportunity where we could have just got him under your thumb and made him squirm.
Yeah, no, he's
he's
awesome,
a good
though.
dude. So
Yeah, we love it. Dylan and I got a good thing.
For sure. And we have some really, really great family that we work with as well. I think I have 3 cousins that all work at, with and under Troy at Seller's Advantage. Troy runs the whole construction dispo department over there. And absolutely, like, that company would not be the same without him. So Damon runs it. It's Damon's company that he has taken off of. But Troy has been the backbone there for the longest amount of time, for sure.
Yeah.
You're the oldest employee there, for sure, right?
Yeah.
The most tenure?
Russ has been there about a little longer than I am, but he's in the field. I'm kind of behind the scenes on it, but yeah, it's been awesome.
And
It's been a great run.
you took a big leap of faith because you were at a very good job, doing very well, and you trusted the system, you trusted Doug, and you jumped over, and now it's just amazing to see the growth that you've done. And,
Yeah, totally. It was awesome. No, I grew up in real estate, like Dylan's saying, everything else. I took an opportunity out of college to do a Fortune 500 job. I felt that was the path, and it was awesome. It treated my family really good. We life was beautiful, and then opportunity came, and we had put ourselves in a position to take the opportunity and look back here, all these years later, and it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Like, it's super cool the way that it's worked out.
That had to be a scary leap, though.
It was.
Can we mention the company name? Is that okay?
Yeah, we can do it. I worked for Insight, Fortune 500 out of Tempe. Great company, great leadership. Like, I worked there 17 and a half years, and it really didn't have any reation to leave. Like, there was no big motivation. Like,
you had your whole pipeline. You had all your
I had a couple of
relationships.
admins. I had all the relationships. All of, like, if I stayed in autopilot, I knew that life was going to be good and we were going to
be
make
vice president of a company and work your way up just like that.
Instead, he chose to potentially make $0 and risk it all. That's what's cool about Troy. Is Troy went and left something that he knew was for sure, and he had spent 17 and a half years building. I mean, think about the emotional tie and connection that must have been. I try to put myself in Troy's shoes and to go, you know what? I'm going to go leave it all behind and take this big gamble.
Burn the boat.
Man, has it worked out. How cool.
No, it was good. It's
cool.
And we still have great friends and relationships on the other side, but that's the point. You do it. So thank you.
All right. Well, sell now.
So you know what? I don't think Troy has heard the jingle.
Oh, dude.
Let's hear it.
Call Doug Hopkins 1-800-SELL-NOW.
I got a longer version, too, I can play, too.
Call Doug Hopkins 1-800-SELL-NOW. Call Doug Hopkins 1-800-SELL-NOW.
All right, I'm feeling it right now. We need Grandpa Gene in a reel with that in the background. Like,
See him dancing to this?
Yes.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
That white guy overbite right there.
We should.
That is a great idea.
Okay,
honestly.
we're gonna do it when everybody's over at my house for Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving. As always,
Done.
Yeah,
we'll have the
send it up.
videographer there, and I think we're gonna get like the whole Doug Hopkins family all do their.
Let's go.
Get everybody dancing.
That would be cool. That'd make a great commercial.
Like one of those crowdsource things where everybody all of a sudden stops in the middle of it and just starts Doug Hopkins dancing.
That's cool.
Ugh. Okay, so cool things happening. U.S. cities plummeting in popularity, where home buyers could score a bargain. Says Americans' love affair with the Sun Belt seems to be coming to an end. According to the latest Realtor.com hottest real estate markets report, several of the cities in the South have dropped precipitously in popularity. It says that the Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale, Arizona is ranked 250 out of the 300 metros in the country in the month of August. It says that it's a slightly cool market that is heating up compared to last month and cooling down slightly compared to last year. Says that the median days on market is 57 days, with inventory moving 26% slower than last year and 4 days slower than the U.S. overall. Is that about right, 57 days?
Yeah,
About 2 months right now on the market?
Here it's actually longer. It's probably closer to 70 right now. Yeah, we're getting so much inventory. Again, 21,700 properties. When the market was moving, we were between 3,000 to 6,000 properties, right? So we're way, way more. We were at 18,000 properties for almost a year straight. And then just recently, we've started to spike as we've gotten into
and
the winter
3,000
months.
additional properties is a lot. That's a lot of houses.
It is. And again, back in the day, you had multiple offers. A house would go on, and that day you might have 10 offers. Waive the appraisal. You'd have to get cash offers almost to get houses. And now we're completely almost 180 from that, right? You got seller concessions. You've got sellers willing to really push it to try to get their home sold.
I've heard that they can pretty much get almost a covered the whole down on this thing with the way that this stuff's coming. You're talking about $30,000 worth of credits. That's a huge amount of money towards your down payment and towards your closing costs.
Now, a seller can't pay for the down payment, but they can pay for like your closing costs. They can pay to buy down your rate. They can cover the appraisal. There's so many other.
So you could
fees
walk in at 3% on an FHA loan and literally just come in with the 3%.
3.5%. Yes.
3.5%. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yep, and with some of our properties, if you do, an FHA or VA, we could even do 6%, right?
Yeah.
So
6% concession. So just to clarify, if you only put 5% down on a conventional, it's 3% the sellers are able to give you. On FHA and VA, it goes up to 6%.
Oh, wow.
So we can do some really creative things. We have a bunch of properties right now. We have 72 properties on the market right now, right? And right about, I think 30 of them are pending. But we have a lot of inventory out there. We can work up some extremely creative things to help you get into a property. So give us a call, give Kevin a call, and we can get you in one of them. No problem whatsoever.
Are you seeing that in California, Troy?
Yeah, we're seeing some of the inventory increase as well. Some of the parts, Orange County is still super hot. We're doing really well. Some of the Inland Empire, Riverside area is, days on market are increasing a little bit. Same with San Bernardino. But it's really the coastal areas. You get into some of these LA, Orange County areas that are closer to the coast, and they're still pretty good. Days on market is lower.
What about, all we hear about in Arizona is how everybody's moving out. Everybody's leaving California. But yet prices still are going up. Is that true? I mean,
you're seeing them still increase over there?
Yeah.
They're still, keep in mind, California is landlocked. If you want to get within proximity to the ocean, there's only so much of it. And so they are landlocked. There's only so much of it. And yeah, we're seeing still there's a lot of demand to be toward the coast. And even though there's a ton of people moving out, there's a lot of people that still want to be in that area.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful area, right? It's just a matter of why are they trying to destroy it?
All right, tinfoil hat man.
That's not tinfoil.
Stay in your corner, tinfoil hat man.
That's fact. It's crazy to see some of the cities and some of the areas where they were, that was where people would go and they were nice and well kept. And now their business is closed and shut down. And it just blows my mind that the government doesn't want to fix it. I don't.
There's just too much money in not fixing it, dude. That's the deal. There's so many people that are involved with on the take. They say that a bucket has holes. Every bucket that you take water over, so our tax dollars funnel out through those holes.
The billions in homelessness, and it's actually gone up. It's like, well, if they fix it, then there's no more money.
Yeah,
right?
and those people that are out there doing good, they end up not being able to do good and reap the wealth of doing good.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of foreign investment, a ton of foreign investment coming into California. So a lot of the money coming in where there's some of these global conflicts, Taiwan, China, et cetera, a lot of that money is flowing in the form of real estate in California. And it's an area you watch the movies. If you're global, California.
Yeah.
You don't know some of these Midwest states and other areas. Right. So when they're coming to invest in real estate,
they go to California.
They go to California. That's
and so are you seeing a lot of the properties that you guys sell being picked up by foreign investment?
Yeah, there's a lot of. It's a mix. It's a healthy mix of a lot of it. But we're seeing more foreign investment than we did 5 years ago. That's
for sure.
A fair statement.
For sure.
It's a safe investment. You guys know everybody seems to want to be out there. So
definitely
interesting.
But back to Arizona real quick. As we've talked for a few minutes today about how the market's pretty tough right now. To be a seller in today's market, especially if your property does not show the best, maybe it doesn't have as many renovations, there is no better time to do a cash offer and get a bunch of security than right now. Because you could go on the market and potentially, have a 70% chance of selling your home. That's the listing success rate right now. And be on the market for 90 days and then have to pay realtor commissions and closing costs and repairs and title and escrow fees and HOA transfer fees and everything else.
Yeah.
Or you can save yourself all of that headache and go to DougHopkins.com. You submit your property and you'll get a call within minutes. We're going to ask you a couple questions about the condition of the home in your timeline and send somebody out there to take some pictures. You're going to get an offer within 24 hours, and that offer is guaranteed. We will not back out. There are no fees, no closing costs, no commissions, no repairs, nothing. No BS. We will get you a firm, easy cash offer, and you can close in as little as 7 days, stay in it for as long as a couple of months, and we'll even let you stay in the property for free after for a couple of weeks. So if you don't want to deal with the headache, if you don't want to deal with the nightmare that is, selling at this time of the year during the election.
Take control of your life and your property. I mean, you have so many options now.
And let me just piggyback on that. Now, let's say you're like, well, if I sell, where am I going to buy? That's where I can come in and say, look, I know they're paying cash. I know that that's going to close. You can go ahead and find your other house, and we'll be able to get you that pre-approval. So okay, if I sell, I can afford. I can go this place, and this is what I'm pre-approved for. So we take that as like you're doing a cash offer. We know that's going to be there. So you're able to go buy another house maybe before you're actually moved out of yours. So that's a huge
for sure. Yeah. So you're getting the best of both worlds. Because one, you're getting to sell with the maximum amount of surety, right? This is going to happen. There are no variables that can come up and screw up my plans. And I can go buy a house when everybody else is desperate.
Yeah.
We can go get you all the concessions. We can make sure that you get your repairs. We can make sure to get you under asking price, etc. So you can sell with us cash, no fees, no commissions, no closing costs, no headache, and then we'll go fight for you on the back end. Just like, because
And
we
believe
negotiate
me.
these contracts every day. We will do it.
You guys fight with everybody every day, so you know what you can get away with. And there's nobody better to do a contract than the Doug Hopkins team. There's just no question.
Totally.
I mean, you guys have so many properties you guys are doing every single month. You've seen every trick and thing come your way, so you know how to use these things.
Absolutely. If I was going to be picking an expert, right, to work for me, I'd want somebody that is in it every single day and negotiating contract after contract after contract. And that's exactly what you get with us. Our team is extremely small for the amount of volume that we do. Each of my agents are doing probably close to 8 deals a month, right? And
That's
compare
like
that.
what normal people do those that much in a year, so
Correct.
if they're lucky.
Correct. So they're getting a ton of reps. They're getting a ton of experience, and with us, you get the maximum amount of value that can be provided in that kind of situation. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to our show.
Hey, don't we want to give a shout out?
I do. I have one shout out real quick since I was on the show today.
To who?
Younger brother Mikey. He's my
Mikey.
youngest.
Oh, Mikey.
Yes.
Blind, cerebral palsy, stud. Listens to the show every week. Mikey, love you, brother. Thank you for listening.
Love you, brother.
Thanks for listening, Mikey. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us this Saturday. Please call us at 1-800-SOUND-NOW for any of your needs, and have a great day. Happy investing.